There is a primal truth etched into the soul of existence, a silent rhythm pulsing through the dance of human connection. It is the eternal interplay of the archetypal masculine and feminine, where the masculine must lead with unwavering resolve, and the feminine, in her surrender, offers the sacred gift of trust to the man she has chosen. This dynamic is not a relic of outdated custom, but a reflection of nature's design, where the conscious mind directs the subconscious, where strength meets softness, and where leadership kindles desire. Men are called to embody a purpose so steadfast that it draws her into his orbit, not by force, but by the magnetic pull of his sovereignty. And in her choice to follow, she honors him, not with subservience, but with the profound offering of her faith. Yet this truth carries a weight that men must bear. To lead is not to dominate, but to stand firm in one's essence, to balance devotion with independence, to forge a bond where both are whole, because both are true. The tragedy of men unfolds when they misunderstand this call. From boyhood, they are taught to win a woman's heart by giving more time, more effort, more of their soul. They pour themselves into her, believing that sacrifice is the currency of love. But the more they give, the less she desires them. For in handing her their crown, they surrender their sovereignty, and her instincts recoil from a man who can be owned. Desire does not bloom in comfort, it thrives in tension. The man who makes her his son finds her orbiting elsewhere, her heart restless for the one who stands just beyond her grasp. This is no conscious cruelty, but the whisper of instinct, a force older than reason, compelling her to seek the man who embodies strength, unshaken by her moods, unmoved by her silence, untamed by her tests. In his refusal to bend, she senses a fire that cannot be extinguished, and her longing grows fierce. This dynamic is rooted in the deep currents of nature. The masculine, as the principle of action and order, is driven to create, to build, to lead. The feminine, receptive and discerning, seeks a partner whose strength offers safety and direction. Evolutionary instincts sharpen this dance. Women are drawn to men who signal confidence, resourcefulness, and independence. Traits that whisper of survival, of protection, of legacy. Her tests, her withdrawal, her silence, her provocations, are not malice, but probes of his resolve. Does he falter under pressure? Does he chase her approval? Or does he stand firm, his purpose unshaken? When he proves steadfast, her surrender becomes her gift, not of weakness, but of choice, a conscious alignment with a man whose strength she trusts. This is the paradox of desire. The man who leads without clinging, who loves without worshipping, becomes the flame to her moth, the center of her obsession. The masculine must embody a moral clarity, a duty to act not from fleeting passion, but from an inner law of purpose. Freedom lies in this balance, between desire and discipline, between connection and independence. The man who leads does not grovel for her affection. He is too consumed by his own path to be swayed by her tests. His steadfastness is not coldness, but a signal of strength, a testament that he can guide her through life's storms. In this, she finds safety to surrender, not as a loss of self, but as a leap into faith, trusting that his leadership will honor her. The feminine's submission is not blind, it is a discernment, a choice to follow a man whose will is unyielding yet just, whose heart is open yet not enslaved. This interplay mirrors the dance of attachment, where security fosters trust. A man who leads with confidence embodies a secure foundation, steady in the face of her emotional tides. Some women, shaped by anxious or avoidant instincts, may test him more fiercely, withdrawing to see if he chases, or provoking to test his resolve. But the man who remains grounded, neither desperate nor distant, offers a harbor for her heart. He does not flood her with apologies for imagined wrongs, nor does he retreat into coldness. He holds his course, balancing emotional openness with sovereignty, inviting her to join him in a partnership of mutual respect. Her surrender, in turn, is not a loss, but a gift, an offering of trust that deepens their bond. This balance is the key to a fulfilling connection. He leads, she follows, and together they create a polarity that sparks intimacy without sacrificing individuality. The man who leads must embrace solitude as fiercely as he embraces connection. For only in solitude does he forge the strength to stand alone, to know himself without her validation. This is the courage of existence, the leap into one's own soul, trusting that his purpose will not falter under her tests. He does not reject her, but he does not make her his purpose. His mission, his work, his art, his vision comes first, not out of neglect, but because it is the fire that fuels his sovereignty. And paradoxically, it is this fire that draws her closer. She does not consciously say, "I will chase the man who leads." Yet her instincts compel her to orbit the one who seems too focused on his destiny to be swayed by her games. His distance is not cruelty, but clarity. His silence is not fear, but power. And in this power, her desire ignites. Consider the men who falter, who collapse under the weight of her expectations. They flood her with gifts she did not earn, abandon their dreams to sit at her feet, apologize for crimes they never committed. And still, she grows colder. Why? Because in every act of excessive care, he announces his weakness. He tells her he can be conquered, and her instincts reject what her heart once admired. Contrast this with the man who leads. He offers only what she has earned, keeps his mission at the center, never apologizes for being himself. He may smile at her affection, shrug at her coldness, laugh at her tests, not because he is cruel, but because his dignity is not for sale. In his refusal to be moved, she senses a man complete without her, and her longing burns brighter. This dynamic is not a battlefield, but a sacred exchange. The man who leads does not dominate her. He invites her into his world. His leadership is not about control, but about creating a space where she can thrive, where her surrender is met with respect. She, in turn, does not submit out of fear, but out of trust, choosing to align with a man whose strength she admires. This is the essence of polarity. He leads, she follows, and together they forge a bond that honors both. The masculine's duty is to remain steadfast, to balance openness with independence, to love without losing himself. The feminine's gift is her trust, her choice to follow a man who proves himself worthy, not through words, but through action, through the quiet power of his resolve. The modern world obscures this truth, urging men to soften, to prioritize her happiness over their own. But the man who surrenders his crown finds only contempt. He becomes the servant, not the partner, and her instincts turn from him, seeking the one who stands firm. History whispers this lesson. Kings who adored their queens too deeply were undone. Warriors who abandoned their mission for a woman's embrace found ruin. The pattern is eternal. The man who pours his life into pleasing her squanders the fire that drew her in. She cannot admire a man who chooses her over his purpose, for in her nature she knows that a missionless man cannot protect her. The man who leads, consumed by higher aims, his work, his vision, his legacy, becomes the one she burns for, not because he withholds love, but because he withholds worship. This is the paradox that destroys most men. When you place her at the center of your world, she flees. When you place yourself at the center, she orbits you endlessly. Devotion without balance is poison. Worship breeds contempt. You think you are buying her love with your sacrifices, but you are draining the fire that kindled her desire. She does not want the man who loses himself in her. She wants the man who refuses to lose himself at all. The man who leads knows this truth. His heart may be open, but his crown is his own. He may take her into his life, but he never builds his life around her. In doing so, he preserves the fire that makes him desirable, the sovereignty that makes her trust him. The feminine's surrender is not a trap, but a sacred offering. Her beauty, her softness, her emotional tides are not weapons, but invitations to a deeper connection. Yet men must see through the illusion that her approval is the ultimate prize. When you chase her validation, you become her possession, not her partner. The man who leads does not fall for this deception. His silence unsettles her, not because he is cold, but because he is complete. His refusal to react to her tests sends a message clearer than any speech. He belongs to himself. And in this belonging, she finds both rage and desire, for he is the man she cannot fully possess. Her longing grows not from his cruelty, but from his strength, from the quiet power of a man who knows his worth. In marriage, this truth sharpens. Men are told that loyalty means surrender, that being a good husband means softening into silence. But the man who sacrifices his mission for domestic peace loses both. He may keep her body, but never her desire. The feminine cannot respect the man she dominates, for respect and desire are intertwined. The man who leads in marriage does not bend to her every whim. He sets boundaries, not out of harshness, but out of clarity. He loves her, but he does not worship her. He desires her, but he does not depend on her. In this asymmetry, her instincts are stirred, and their bond deepens through the polarity of strength and surrender. The masculine's greatest challenge is to balance leadership with intimacy, sovereignty with connection. He must be open without being weak, firm without being cruel. This is the art of leadership, to guide her with a steady hand, to create a space where she can surrender without fear, where her trust is met with respect. The feminine's gift is her discernment, her choice to follow a man who proves himself worthy, not through grand gestures, but through the quiet strength of his actions. Together, they forge a partnership where both are whole, where desire grows not from manipulation, but from mutual respect. So men, heed this call. Lead with purpose, guard your crown, value your mission. Stand firm in yourself, not out of pride, but out of duty to your own soul. The feminine seeks the masculine who can withstand her tests, who remains unshaken by her whims. Her surrender is her gift, a testament to your strength. When you stop caring too much, you do not lose her. You gain power. And when you gain power, she comes without asking. This is the eternal truth. Men must lead, not to dominate, but to honor the dance of instinct and trust. For in this dance, you find not just desire, but a bond that burns eternal, a partnership where both are free because both are true. If this truth stirs your soul, share it, spread it, forge a brotherhood that refuses to bow to illusion. For the greatest act of love is not giving yourself away. It is keeping yourself whole, so that she may choose to follow.